Right, we'll take a look at revenue, and revenue is very similar to projectile motion, only it deals with money as opposed to how a ball or a rocket or something is moving. So a company is selling widgets. The amount of profit Y can be made by the company is related to the selling price of each widget. All right, so just keep in mind of what it is. So the amount of profit, so Y is made by selling the selling price of each widget. So you just have to know what X and Y. So X is the selling price and Y is the profit. It's given by this equation. So again, as always, let's go ahead and type that equation into decimals and see what it looks like. So negative 9x plus 501x minus 3650. All right, so this is what the graph looks like. All right, so it looks like, again, it's a parabola. Yeah, very tall one. All right, we're going to practice the window thing again. So this is as high as 3,000. And let's see, 0 to what? 0 to 47. All right, so I want to practice the window thing. So I'm going to click this. I'm going to say, hey, x-axis, y-axis, just go from, let's do, again, doesn't have to be big, negative 100, and I think it was going to 6,000. So let's do 6, 1, 2, 3,000. Let's say it goes up by hundreds. Let's lay the x-axis, let's just say from negative 10, and I can't remember how far it goes. Let's see, let's cheat, 47. Okay, so I'm going to come here and say, okay, to 50, go up by tens. You know, just so you could, that's all I was doing, making the graph more visible. And the other thing I can do is take out minor grid line so it doesn't confuse me. So boom, I'm just making it more visible in my window. So this takes a little bit of practice, and all you're doing is making your x-axis between the two things that you want, your y-axis between the two numbers you want, and you're telling it how to go up by in order to fit. Okay. All right. So now that I've got that, at what price? So remember, profit is Y, selling price is X. So at what X or prices will need to make the company no money at all? What values of X is 0 profit? So what values of X give me 0 Y? All right, it's a fancy way of saying my x-intercept. So here we go. We got two answers. Once again, all right, we are rounding, and of course, because this is money, nearest cent makes money, makes sense. All right, so what is nearest cent? So remember, I can have $23.45, right? So nearest cent is two numbers after the decimals. So once again, all right, how do I round? All right, you type round. So let's go ahead and do that. Round, parentheses, the number you want, parentheses, comma, the number you want, and then comma, how you want it to round. So I want it to round with two numbers. What do I want to round in two numbers? So I'm going to keep pasting this because all my answers will be rounded by these two numbers to the nearest cent so that I'm ready to go. So now I'm going to come back to here. All right, so my first question, what price or prices will the company make no money at all? So it makes no money at this price. So you take this price, Control C, and then put it how you want the calculator around. So 8.62, and it makes 0 money here. You take this as well, highlight it, Control C, Control V, and there are my two prices. So what price? And because this is money, I'm going to write it in money. So I go money. At what price? It could be $8.62, or it could be $47.05. Both of those numbers or both of those prices, the company will make 0 profit, because remember, Y is profit and X is price. All right. That's why I highlighted in my question so I don't forget. All right. What price? Again, what price the widget should be sold for? So again, price is talking about what X. Okay. So what X for the company to make max Y. All right. For the company to make max profit. All right. So I'm looking for my maximum. What X? So I'm looking for this X number, again, rounded, all right, to the nearest 2. All right, so I copy it and I paste it. And so it's $27.83. So what price should the widgets be sold for? $27.83 will give me my maximum profit. All right, my maximum profit. The maximum amount of profit the company can make. Okay, so what's the maximum profit? Again, I go to my maximum. This time profit, again, profit is Y. So I'm looking at my Y value. So here's my Y value to the nearest cent. And it already has 2 numbers after the decimals, but I'm just going to do it anyway. Control C, Control V, and you can see it's still the same number. So what's the maximum profit that they can make? They can make $3,322.25. And no, you do not need to put the comma in the answer. All right, so again, we're just looking at revenue. It's the same thing as projectile motion. The only thing is we're dealing with money. So just be sure to identify your Y and your X. And then to round is round, parentheses, what you want to round, comma, how many numbers after decimal do you want to appear? Let's practice.